Around the world throughout the years, Speed World brings you over 1 million miles of award-winning coverage. Today in Sonoma, California, Sears Point International Raceway and the Banquet Frozen Foods 300. Thousands of race fans have gathered here at this beautiful facility in Northern California, located about 45 miles north of San Francisco in the Sonoma Napa Valleys. The pace car is on the racetrack right now because of a crash that we had on lap number 2 involving R.K. Smith. So Ricky Rudd is lined up behind the pace car. Next is Dale Earnhardt, then Rusty Wallace and Terry Labonte and Tom Kendall. Michael Waltrip, there's Alan Kowicki and Ken Schrader. Darrell Waltrip, Lake Speed. There's the 97 car of Jeff Bodine, Ernie Irvan, Mark Martin, who crashed here, as Benny said, in practice earlier this week. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch working on pit road. Jerry?
Well, Bob, it's a little bit unusual out here in California. Of course, things are a little different out here on the West Coast. And interestingly enough, when you're standing in the pits normally at a Winston Cup race, as the cars come by as they are now, you'll see all the crews facing the track. But in the first few laps here, everyone has been facing away from the track. And the reason is, let me show you. Right behind the pits here is a large screen, as I'm pointing to, and you see our cameraman, Corky Corcoran, a large television screen that is taking our ESPN feed. So the fans in the grandstands and the crew members have the luxury of watching their cars run every lap around the racetrack. That large diamond vision screen has got a lot of attention, so all the crews up and down pit road have been facing away from the track and watching television. John?
Jerry, we're down here in Sterling Marlin's pit. He's brought it in. He's got a brake problem. They are working inside. What they think the problem is that the spring on the brake pedal that goes in has broken, so he doesn't have any spring return on that. So they are working furiously inside. The fortunate thing is it takes so long for the cars to get around the track, so they hope to have it fixed and get him back on the track before losing the lap. But he does have the car shut off right now, and they are still working.
Yeah, that is one nice thing about this long road course. You can make a long pit stop and really not lose that much time. So we are under caution now as the crew works on Sterling Marlin's car, and they get R.K. Smith's car off the racetrack. We'll be right back.
Come to the Sportsman Center in Bordentown, New Jersey, and help celebrate our 20th anniversary celebration. Through the entire month of June, there will be big savings, super everyday in-store specials, appearances by some very special outdoor celebrities, free door prizes, free weekly seminars, and even free birthday cake. Our month-long celebration will feature our deepest discounts in our 20 years of business. Remember, the festivities start Saturday, June 1st at the Sportsman Center, Route 130.
Make a big splash at Aluna Pool Service. Aluna carries a full line of pool equipment and supplies. Dive into these savings. Hydrotech chlorine tablets, 25 pounds, only $89.95. Hydrotech Shock, 1 pound bag, only $2.50. SwimGuard Algicide, 40%, only $8.95. Save 20% off all other chemicals and accessories. Aluna Pool services what they sell. They're your authorized Anthony Pool Service Center. Bring a water sample in for a free computerized water test. Aluna Pool Service, the personal pool company.
If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
There he goes. He leaves. He makes the catch.
See Tuesday night doubleheaders, Wednesday night excitement, Friday night twin bills, and exclusive Sunday night action. The Blue Jays are locked in battle for first place, led by the bat of Joe Carter. Cal Ripken Jr. is putting up Triple Crown numbers for the Orioles. The Blue Jays meet the Orioles live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. The Banquet Frozen Foods 300, 1990. Ricky Rudd led the field to green after setting a new track qualifying record. Early racing saw Rudd challenged by Ernie Irvan, who had started second, and third-place starter Dale Earnhardt. It wasn't long, though, before Rusty Wallace, who had begun from the 11th starting position, charged to the front. Wallace had won on the road course at Watkins Glen in '89, losing to Rudd here at Sears Point. Dale Earnhardt suffered transmission problems. 9 laps were spent in the pits, but Dale completed the race in a disappointing 34th position. The race came down to a battle between the road course specialists again, Rudd and Wallace. Rusty took the lead for the final time, 14 laps from the finish. The event ended under caution with Rusty making it 2 out of 3 wins in 1990. Mark Martin finished in second and Rudd was third. That's the way it was a year ago here at Sears Point. Right now we are under caution for the first time this afternoon because of a crash up in the turn 5 area involving R.K. Smith. However, we have just noticed that that car has not been taken back to the pit area on the hook. It was pushed back, and I have a feeling that R.K. Smith could go back into action. Here's the roof cam on Dale Jarrett's car, giving us some great pictures of this 2.5-mile road course. And our other in-car camera this afternoon, besides Dale Jarrett's here and Tom Kendall's, is the Phillips 66 in-car camera carried by Lake Speed, who had a great qualifying performance here this afternoon in the weekend, qualifying for 9th position at 89.745 miles an hour. Coming toward you again, Ned, and next time this should be full speed racing when they get your way.
Everybody, I think, is ready for it. They begin to weave the cars back and forth across the track here on this straightaway coming into turn 7 to get those tires seated in. Ricky Rudd ready to make the charge once again. But I'll tell you, I've been impressed with Earnhardt. You know, a lot of people have not given him a lot of credit for being a road racer, but he won the pole at Watkins Glen, you know, once before, and also has been running very good here today. He's keeping the pressure on Ricky Rudd, so don't count that fella out.
Yeah, you're right. You know, he did have that bad finish that we just talked about last year when the transmission on the car went out and finished 34th, but he has a very impressive record on road courses. As a matter of fact, when you average all of his finishes since 1987, he ranks 3rd behind Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd. So Earnhardt is a very good road racing driver. He finished 7th last year at Watkins Glen, the other road course race that these drivers compete in.
Bob, I mentioned to Richard Childers, where did you get this road racer from since Earnhardt qualified 3rd? He said he's always been a road racer. We have finally been able to get him a car that will show his true road racing talents.
He's right behind Ricky Rudd as we get set to go back to green. By the way, the number 09 car of R.K. Smith is going to be out of the race, but not necessarily because of the damage that suffered in the crash, but because the engine has expired on that race car. The pace car will go straight down what is normally the drag strip here, leaving the field in charge by Ricky Rudd. And here they come off the 11th corner and on to the start-finish line. Lap number 7, the green comes back out. We're racing again. Riding with Tom Kendall in 5th position. He's right behind Terry Labonte. There's our ground cam once again. Look how the right front of some of the cars lifts off the ground as it goes through this area of the track.
Bob, this is certainly one of the most challenging road courses they run on. Uphill and downhill. Of course, you have the right-hand and left-hand turns. Now as Ricky Rudd heads into turn 7. Got himself a little bit of a lead this time coming in here. But Earnhardt breaks a little bit. Here's Rusty Wallace trying to move up on the outside, but that's not the smart thing to do right now. So Earnhardt had the preferred position coming in there.
And remember just a couple of years ago when Rusty Wallace tried to take the lead with that move over Ricky Rudd with just a few laps to go in the Banquet Frozen Food 300K.
Rudd stretches out the advantage over Earnhardt, who has his mirror full of Rusty Wallace. There's Kendall in 5th, followed by Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil bright yellow car. Into turn number 11 once again. Gearing down.
Of course, they're down in 2nd gear there. That's the slowest point on the racetrack, but one of the slipperiest points on the racetrack, too.
There's a surprisingly large amount of passing that goes on in that turn if you do it just right. There's Alan Kulwicki, who has come into the pits with a flat, John.
Well, Bob, Bob, a lot of cars get off course here, and they will kick things up on the track. And what happens is you run over a pebble, a stone, or something, and you develop a flat tire. That is apparently what has happened to Alan Kulwicki. He has come in complaining of a flat tire. They will change all four, so they weren't quite sure which one was flat. The work is finished around the right side. The Hooters crew going to work on the left side. Once again, Alan aided here in the fact that it takes so long for the other cars to get around the track, and Alan is down in the way, still on the lead lap, but way, way back.
It is pretty easy to cut a tire down here by simply getting off course just a little bit. You'll remember last year when Ricky Rudd wound up third. Oh, a battle for second position.
Wallace trying it again on the outside. He tried to outbrake Earnhardt coming into the turn, but again, Earnhardt has the preferred groove going into the turn. He'll slip Wallace up a little high, but it gives him enough room that Wallace makes the pass.
Great pass by Rusty Wallace as he takes second position, and now he sets his sights on Ricky Rudd. I mentioned how easy it is to cut a tire. Last year, Rudd had 5 flats, but still finished in third position. Here's the telemetry. Now watch the speed decrease as he heads for that second gear corner. All the way down to the 40s, 30, 33, 33, 30, 30 miles an hour, about the slowest, and then back hard on the accelerator.
Bob, I'm sure there are a lot of fans out there thinking, well, heck, if they're only going 30 miles an hour, I could do that. I'll tell you, it's a little harder than it looks.
Yeah, it's the 120 or 25 or 30 miles an hour that you go on the other portions of the course that would worry me. Bumper cam from Blake Speed's car. Looking back on Ernie Irvan.
Oh, Irvan getting up there close.
Looks like Talladega.
Yeah.
Oh, look how close he gets.
I think he got too close that time, Bob.
Blake Speed is running 9th, and Irvan is in 10th. Jeff Bodine is right behind Ernie. See if Irvan can make the pass here. Boy, he sure would like to. They're coming off the straightaway, headed toward you, Ned.
Harris goes up on the outside, just like Rusty Wallace did on Dale Earnhardt. Let's see if he can make it stick. If he can stay up there, but he couldn't quite do it coming off the turn. If he could stay deep with him coming off the turn, then he would have been okay. Just couldn't quite do it.
Coming through those S's, still looking for the opportunity to pass, headed for turn number 10 now. This is the Phillips 66 bumper cam in this case, looking back on Ernie Irvan. Now here they are, headed for turn number 11 again.
Boy, he's all over it, isn't he?
He is. He is really pressuring Lake Speed.
Lake, of course, a former go-kart racer. And it seems that most of those guys who did race go-karts, here Ernie might have a chance. Nope, the door is closed on him. But it seems those that race go-karts make good road racers.
Boy, Ernie is just all over Lake Speed. Like he got the right side tires up on that curbing, using every inch of racetrack.
Very difficult place for Ernie to make a pass now, Bob.
But you know, when you're running that close, Benny, on another car, now he dips down on the inside. Let's see if he can make that stick. He might have him this time. But when you're running as close as he has been running to Lake Speed, sometimes you can't see those ripple strips. You just sort of drive where you think everything is.
Unfortunately, most of the times you miss those ripple strips.
Now we see Rusty Wallace right on the back bumper of Ricky Rudd.
And they pulled away from Dale Earnhardt, and he has his hands full of Terry Labonte and Tommy Kendall.
Kendall looked like he had an opportunity, or at least thought about passing Terry Labonte.
Ernie Irvan's going to get the best of Lake Speed. Speed locked the brakes up coming into 7 on his car, and that's all Ernie Irvan needed. He needed just a little bit of a brake there, and he got it.
So Ernie Irvan will move to 9th, and Lake Speed goes back to 10th. And here is that pass you mentioned, Ned.
You can see the smoke as he came into the turn. Lake Speed locked the brakes on the car, trying to outbrake Ernie going in there. Ernie up on the outside, and then, of course, go ahead and make the pass.
There's Rusty Wallace, who is in second position behind Ricky Rudd.
And, Bob, those two fellows have kind of driven away from that race for third spot.
Why is it that these two guys have been so dominant in road course racing here in the past few years? I mean, when you think of a road course, you can't help but think of Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd.
Bob, these two fellows have worked at this harder than most other teams. Both these teams came out here testing, spent a couple of days out trying different things, springs, shocks, the weight shifted around in the car. A luxury that most teams simply don't take advantage of. They have the advantage to do it, but they choose not to because maybe the drivers don't prefer the road course like these two fellows. Just love the road courses. And you can see Rusty Wallace really is living right now because he's about to overtake Ricky Rudd.
10 laps have been completed here in the 74-lap Banquet Frozen Foods 300. And now, up ahead of Lake Speed, we can see Ernie Irvin challenging Ken Schrader.
And he has made the pass. They're coming into turn 7. Darrell Walker would be the next person up in front of him, so Irvin's sort of on the go now.
He sure is. Ernie Irvin is slicing through traffic. There's Mark Martin, who has been able to pass Lake Speed. Now Davey Allison is just behind Lake.
And Bob, that
Morgan Shepherd. Excuse me, baby. Morgan Shepherd is really smoking the Motorcraft Ford. There's something wrong with it.
And we'll be back with more of our live coverage right after this.
20 times last year, the world's best top fuelers fired it up in the final. And all 20 times, the outcome was exactly the same.
I feel good.
Every single NHRA winner was powered by the same spark plug.
So good. So good.
Autolite, we feel pretty good about that.
Wow. I feel good. Ford Trucks. The best never rest.
Look, everybody knows our full-size pickup's priced less than Chevy, right? Mm-hmm. That's just for starters. This study shows the F-150 will cost less to operate. And look, it'll hold its value better than Chevy. It's more than a good truck. It's a good investment.
More people are driving the best-built, best-selling American trucks than ever before.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The big Q is one tough motor oil.
Man, alone against the sea, in a race where surviving is more important than winning. A brutal 9-month journey comes to an end. The BOC Challenge, Monday night on ESPN.
Welcome back to Sears Point. We have a new leader. It's Rusty Wallace, who was able to pass Ricky Rudd this lap, and Wallace has gone to the front of the field from his 4th starting position. Here's a replay of how it happened.
Well, Bob, they did it where we predicted that a lot of passing would go on, and that is coming into turn 7. Wallace got up on the outside, similar to the way he did with Dale Earnhardt a little bit earlier. Rudd gave him room out there, but boy, it is tough hanging out there. But once you get off of the turn, if you can stay out there, then you have clear sailing down into turn number 8.
And Rudd gave him lots of room to make the pass. Also on that lap, we had this little encounter between Jimmy Spencer and Derek Cope. This was in turn number 11. It was a minor spin. Both cars were able to get headed in the right direction and stay on the racetrack. So lots of action that lap, but the bottom line is that Rusty Wallace has taken the lead from Ricky Rudd, and they are separating themselves from the rest of the field. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, gentlemen, yesterday Rusty Wallace had a fuel pickup problem, and it was a very concerning problem. After they ran about 12 or 13 laps, the car would begin to sputter in left-hand turns. Now climbing up the hill in turn 1 or coming down toward turn 9, a left-hand turn. He just came through turn 8. Now he makes a turn 9 and hits a turn 10. But the car would begin to sputter, so the crew went to work. Last night and this morning, they changed the fuel bladder, the fuel line, the fuel connector, everything inside. They were very concerned about whether it would begin to sputter again today. Well, they're past the 10-lap mark, and they're holding their breath. Bob?
It has worked. He has taken the lead and now separating himself just a little bit from Ricky Rudd. Here's Darrell Waltrip and Ernie Irvan involved in a battle. Ernie has really shown some muscle here in the early going. His car is obviously working very well, going to the inside and passing Darrell Waltrip. That number 6 car is Mark Martin, of course.
And Bob, that number 6 car, Mark Martin's car, is the car that he used at Martinsville. It is an oval track car. An oval track car, not a true road race car, as I mentioned at the top of the show. He used up his road race car, had to go to the short track car, and I told him, if you win the race in this thing, everyone is going to have to rethink their thinking when it comes to road racing.
Yeah, Mark was so confident going into this race. He thought that he had the pole position for this thing locked up before the crash. There's Morgan Shepherd in the pits. We told you earlier that there was a lot of smoke seen from this car a couple of laps ago. Well, Morgan has brought it in. Now you can see that he was a 6th place finisher at Watkins Glen, so he too has performed well under certain conditions on road courses, changing all 4 tires on that number 15 Motorcraft Ford, prepared by Bud Moore and the group.
Bob, there's another car out on the track that's smoking. We saw him a little bit earlier in that skirmish down there in turn 11. Jimmy Spencer, a lot of smoke coming from his car as well, but Morgan's had been smoking for about 4 or 5 laps, so they pulled him in to see if they could find out what the problem was.
That could be some sheet metal rubbing on the tire from that little incident he had with Derek Cope down here in turn number 11. Well, these two guys have continued to run pretty close together since the drop of the green flag. The Sunoco car ahead is Terry Labonte. We're riding with Tom Kendall in the mellow yellow Pontiac as he substitutes for Kyle Petty. And Tommy's going to take it to the inside in turn number 11, and he is going to pass Terry Labonte.
Bob, that was a classic road racing move, out breaking the fella going down in the slow corner. And Kendall, with his road racing experience, we're probably going to see much more of that today.
Well, the Trans Am champion, of course, has a lot of experience on road courses, and that's one of the reasons why he was chosen to replace Kyle Petty on this particular venue. Tom Kendall with a great future in racing. He's a youngster, just graduated from UCLA recently, but he has a bright future in auto racing if he wants to stay with it.
I asked him what his degree was from at UCLA. He said economics. I said, what do you do with that? He said, figure out how to spend my money.
Dale Earnhardt is 3rd. There's Kendall in 4th. Then Labonte and Michael Waltrip.
You got to be impressed with him, Bob. He's having a very good run here today, Michael Waltrip. He has raced all the road courses, of course, since he came into the Western Cup Series, but doesn't have nearly as much experience as most of those drivers in front of him.
Well, he started this race in 8th position, and Michael did record a very impressive 4th place finish at Watkins Glen last year. So, yeah, he also shows a lot of road racing ability.
If Michael Waltrip was to finish the top 5 tomorrow, and someone did not know it, didn't read the paper, and said, who finished 5th? He said, Waltrip. 75% of people would guess they hit Darrell.
He's looking for his first Winston Cup win. Sat on the pole last week at Dover. Had problems in the early going, then had a crash. It was a long afternoon for him. Here's Kenny Schrader moving to the inside of Darrell Waltrip. As a matter of fact, Waltrip is going to lose a couple of positions. One to Ken Schrader and the other to Davey Allison as he took the high line there in turn number 11 and let the other 2 cars drive below him.
Once he got out in that line, he didn't resist him, Bob. He saw that Davey was real close on Kenny Schrader, and he said there's no point in taking a chance right now.
Now Allison really breathing down the neck of Schrader as they head uphill into turn number 3.
That's another fellow, Bob, that's not known for his road racing abilities. Either of these fellows, both Schrader and Davey Allison, but both of them doing a great job today. Davey taking a look on the inside, not able to make the pass.
And Derek Cope has crashed. He's taken that Chevrolet into the tire barrier, and it is going to bring out a full course caution. I think it may have been a little premature because, as you can see, Derek has that car going. But in any case, the NASCAR officials have decided to throw the overall yellow, and Derek Cope heads for the pits. That was at turn number 10, just before the pit entrance.
Might be a break for some drivers, Bob. We understand that maybe Darrell Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt had some tires going down, so we might see them coming into the pits.
And Derek Cope has taken his car behind the wall. There you can see Darrell Waltrip just ahead of Lake Speed, and we will watch. See if Darrell Waltrip does bring his Western Auto car into the pit area. You can see the corner workers waving their yellow flags, indicating that we do have a full course caution. This is the second one of the afternoon. The first was from R.K. Smith's venture off the track, and now one for Derek Cope. Earnhardt stayed out on the track. The pits right now are closed as the pace car has not yet picked up the field. So the yellow does remain out at this point. We will take another break and be back to see if Earnhardt and Waltrip go into the pit area for tire changes when we come back to Sears Point.
The way I work, I sure appreciate my new Suzuki King quad. It's great for fishing too. Caught 9 bass last week. It hauled all the wood to build Martha's chicken coop. It took me hunting, spent all day shooting geese.
Check out the new King Quad ATV at your Suzuki dealer now.
You plowing tomorrow, Wayne?
Yep.
Don't forget your fishing gear.
Suzuki recommends all riders take a training course. In fact, it's on us. See your dealer for details.
$2.29 for a pot pie? There must be some mistake. And duck à l'orange. For my kids? There must be some mistake. I said, where's the manager? He says he is. There must be some mistake.
Today's banquet is for families like yours. Good food at the right price. And varieties the whole family will enjoy.
I'm sticking with Banquet. And that's no mistake.
Today's banquet. Good food that's right on the money.
To demonstrate the superior color of new Kodak Gold 400 film, just open a box. It has the richest, most vivid color available in a high-speed film. New Kodak Gold 400. Fast film. True colors.
At Sears Point International Raceway, Winston Cup Road Racing on this Sunday afternoon. Tom Kendall is under caution, as is the rest of the field. Dale Jarrett also taking the opportunity to relax a little bit under the caution. Jerry Punch on pit road has the story of Morgan Shepherd's afternoon.
Well, Bob, the first Winston Cup regular to actually get out of the garage area or get into the garage area is Morgan Shepherd. They have brought his motorcraft Ford back into the back part of the garage with a smoking problem. We found out that possibly the rear transmission seal has been leaking on the car. They brought it in. They're going to change the transmission and possibly get Morgan Shepherd back out. Meanwhile, under caution, we should see some pit stops.
We are seeing a lot of pit stop as just about everyone has decided to come in. We don't see a single car that is remaining on the racetrack at this point. Now, the entrance speed for these cars down pit road is 25 miles an hour. This, of course, in conjunction with the pit rules that NASCAR has instituted. A very slow procedure down pit road. Now some of them begin to arrive at their pit areas. And let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, all the leaders in the pits, of course, Bob, Ricky Rudd getting service. We would expect to see all 4 tires changed and filling up with fuel. This is a very important pit stop. A lot of concern as Earnhardt's car now gets by. He will exit pit road. Back on Ricky Rudd, you see all the crews here working. Is Kenny Schrader having a difficult time getting his car in the pits. A little trouble with the left rear on Ricky Rudd's car. He is down and away. And likewise, the pits are so close here that Harry Labonte has gotten boxed in, and now he's able to move, but he tags a tire that had rolled away from the car number 6. Really tight corners here in the pits as they make their first stop under caution. Bob?
Boy, the corners are very tight down there, Jerry, but all the drivers being very heads up and being very careful. We didn't see any incidents on pit road. As a matter of fact, everybody got in and out very cleanly as they continue to file out of the pit area. Here comes Hut Strickland and Harry Gant out. Bobby Hillen, number 52. Herschel McGriff in the 04 car. Richard Petty pulls out of his assigned pit area along with Rick Mast in number 1. So under caution, a lot of pit stop activity occurring here at Sears Point. Once again, here's how to win the Right Guard Halfway Challenge Sweepstakes. Call 1-900-737-1100 before the halfway lap. Then stay tuned to see which driver wins the $10,000 award. If your entry is selected and you are called at home, you will win a Pontiac Grand Prix SE if you can name the driver who won the Right Guard Halfway Challenge. We're glad you could join us on this Sunday afternoon from Sonoma, California. Back after this.
Great movies, great shows, great laughs. It's a great month on Store, Cable, and Lifetime.
Well, this is exciting.
A couple is haunted by the tragic death of their daughter in death dreams. Then learn how to look and feel your best with the Image Workshop. And look who's joining Lifetime's family.
Gary Shamling Show.
There's great entertainment on Store, Cable, and Lifetime in June.
Make a big splash at Aluna Pool Service. Aluna carries a full line of pool equipment and supplies. Dive into these savings. Hydrotech chlorine tablets, 25 pounds, only $89.95. Hydrotech Shock, 1 pound bag, only $2.50. Swim Guard Algicide, 40%, only $8.95. Save 20% off all other chemicals and accessories. Aluna Pool services what they sell. They're your authorized Anthony Pool Service Center. Bring a water sample in for a free computerized water test. Aluna Pool Service, the personal pool company.
Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, Dr. Jerry Punch back at Sears Point. Here are the top 10 after 17 laps. John Krebs leads in number 99. He did not make a pit stop. Jimmy Spencer is second in number 98. Rusty Wallace runs third. Ricky Rudd is fourth, and Dale Earnhardt is fifth. 6 through 10, Tommy Kendall, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, Ernie Irvin, and Mark Martin. The top 10 after 17 laps. Here comes the green flag, and we are back to racing. There are the two that were shown in first and second position that have chose to make a pit stop right now as the green flag comes out. The number 91 car, they're going wide. That's Robert Sprague, driver that started in last position, letting the faster cars pass by the 00 car driven by Scott Gaylord as Ricky Rudd runs alongside him. Here comes Earnhardt and Kendall. Watching from Tom Kendall's in-car camera.
See, there's a lot of steering wheel movement on this racetrack.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Ned, how busy Kendall is. He's probably never been this busy in a race car in his life.
They go downhill now. Here's turn number 6 and on to the straightaway. There's the foot cam. You can see him hard on the accelerator, now hard onto the brake, trying to take over the position at turn 7.
Yeah, he's trying to go on the outside of Dale Earnhardt. We've seen that pass made a couple of times, but Tommy Kendall couldn't make it that time.
Tommy Kendall said, hey, I saw those guys do that before. How come it didn't work for me?
The foot cam once again.
Notice he's not using the clutch, just braking with his left foot. They're braking with the left foot, shifting gears all this while never touching the clutch.
Those Jericho transmissions will allow them to do that.
We saw when the right foot goes, that's shifting gears.
Now watch him. He's going to slow down here. It was about 30 miles an hour. Only got down to 31 that time for turn number 11. And he'll be hard on the accelerator now for a while here until he gets up to turn number 1 where he might touch the brake slightly. Up through the gears into second, now into third.
Moses right in on Earnhardt up at the top of the hill in turn 2.
Boy, he sure is. It looks like he wants that position real bad.
Yeah, I think Earnhardt's holding him up a little bit and just get an opportunity to move around. He'll try him again, I'll bet, on the outside going into turn 7.
Right behind me in turn 6, going down through what they call a carousel. This is turn 6. They go around this corner and head back up the straightaway to Ned Jarrett.
Well, here he comes up on his back bumper now. Now he pulls out, trying to make the pass. Now he brakes a little bit harder going into the turn. Earnhardt gives him room down there, but did he get in too fast? Kendall almost got into the turn too fast, but he might have made the pass this time, fellas. Yes, he did.
How about that? Tom Kendall with a very nice move in turn number 7 and now takes over the position from Dale Earnhardt as they swing through the S's. But Earnhardt would like very much to get that spot back. He's not letting Tom get ahead very far.
I thought that Kendall got a little bit too excited with themselves and gotten wide, and Earnhardt was going to take the spot back, but he was not able to.
Bob, you got a smoker heading toward you, Hut Strickland, and it looked like he had some sheet metal damage on the Ray Bestis Buick as well, but a good bit of smoke coming from his car as he comes out of turn 9.
We will watch for him. Meanwhile, there he is. Yeah, Hut Strickland with a lot of smoke trailing that Ray Bestis Buick. He's going to take it into the pits. Hut Strickland comes in.
You can see some damage on the right side of the car, so he's gotten into someone around as he makes this turn. You can see the damage there to the sheet metal.
Yeah, it's caved in pretty good there on the right side. They go to work on the left side of the car, and they're also going to take the pins out and raise the hood.
Yeah, they're checking on that smoke situation there now.
Let's go to Jerry Punch, who has an update on Rusty.
Well, Bob, earlier we mentioned they had the problem with the car sputtering yesterday. They figured it'd be a fuel pickup problem, and I mentioned they changed all the fuel system from the bladder, the lines, everything this morning, and they were concerned. Well, Rusty told crew chief Jimmy Makar a minute ago during the pit stop, and Makar just told me that the car is sputtering again. It only happens on the fast, high-speed left-hand turns. Turn 1 and also turn 10 down behind the grandstands coming down the backstretch. So if you see Rusty making a pass, you'll have to do it on the right-hand turn. That's where he made the pass on Earnhardt and on Rudd up in turn 7 because the car does not sputter when he turns right.
Well, Rusty continues to maintain the lead, but if that car is sputtering on him, it means that Ricky Rudd might be able to close in on him. As we watch some action in the back, or in the middle of the pack, I should say. That's Jeff Bodine and Davey Allison. This is 10th, 11th, and 12th right here with Schrader, Bodine, and Davey Allison. There's Darrell Waltrip to the left. Here is Schrader and Bodine looking to the inside, trying to take the position away from Ken Schrader, and he's going to do it in the Budweiser Ford.
Made a good move there. Kept the car
like
straight while he had the brakes on hard. That's what you got to do. Once you start turning that steering wheel and heading into the turn, you don't want to hit on those brakes too heavy, and certainly don't want to lock them up.
Sore ribs don't appear to be giving Jeff Bodine any problem whatsoever.
Davey Allison and Ken Schrader have been racing together since the drop of the green flag, still bumper to bumper. And Allison still looks like he would be able to go on if he could just get by, but having trouble getting by.
Easier said than done. The 98 car, Jimmy Spencer, as you indicated earlier, Ned, is smoking, and we speculated that it could be some sheet metal running against the wheels because of his encounter with Cope, but I think it may amount to something more than that.
I think so. It's gotten worse. After he made that pit stop, we didn't see any smoke for a couple of laps, but now he is really putting it out. So yeah, I think it's something other than sheet metal running the car.
And he's going to be black flag. Here's Dale Jarrett and Lake Speed going at it.
Well, Dale's trying that outside move. Let's see if he can make that stick. Looks like he might be able to have the measure of coming off of turn 7. And
13th and 14th position being fought for there as Dale Jarrett passes Lake Speed and goes to 13th spot.
0-0 car of Scott Gaylord, one of the Winston West drivers.
Phillips 66 in-car camera looking ahead to Dale Jarrett. There's the leader, Rusty Wallace, in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, closely pursued by Ricky Rudd. There's third place Tom Kendall. Fourth is Dale Earnhardt, and the yellow flag is out once again. The full course yellow flag is being displayed to the field. And the reason is oil on the racetrack, possibly from Jimmy Spencer that we saw just a few minutes ago. So our third full course caution of the afternoon waves over Sears Point International Raceway, with Rusty Wallace leading the Banquet Frozen Foods 300. Back after these messages.
Hey, have you registered to win the We Win, You Win $1 Million sweepstakes at Western Auto? Well, go down today and register again, because we're number 3 in the Winston Cup point standings, and that means $250,000 cash to some lucky Western Auto customer. That's $250,000 if we finish 3rd at the end of the year. But we're going to finish 1st, right, guys?
Yes!
And that will mean a lucky Western Auto customer will win $1 million. We win, you win, we both win at Western Auto.
In the last 5 years, one truck manufacturer has won more off-road races than anyone, including 4 class championships in 1990 and the Mini and Heavy Metal Championships. That truck manufacturer is Ford. And that kind of winning performance goes beyond the winner's circle.
Live, top-ranked boxing on ESPN. The place where fighters have stepped into the ring as unknowns, made the right connection, and emerged as champions.
You gotta knock them out to win, sis, all right?
Junior Poison Jones puts his undefeated record on the line against Alejandro Sanabria. 2 world-rated bantamweight contenders battle head-to-head on Top Rank Boxing. Thursday night, live on ESPN.
Some of the finest wines in all the world are made from the grapes grown in this area, the Sonoma Valley of Northern California. Today, we're here for the Banquet Frozen Foods 300 Winston Cup race, and we're delighted you could join us on this Sunday afternoon here in the West Coast. Here, the top 10 after 22 laps is Rusty Wallace leading Ricky Rudd, Tom Kendall, Dale Earnhardt, and Michael Waltrip. The 6th position belongs to Terry Labonte. Ernie Irvin is 7th. 8th is Mark Martin. 9th is Darrell Waltrip. And in 10th position is Jeff Bodine, as we are under our 3rd full course caution of the afternoon because of oil on the racetrack, apparently put down by Jimmy Spencer. The pace car leads them down now through turn number 11 here. That's where you enter the pits. And Dale Earnhardt is going to come in for a pit stop. Earnhardt is in for an unscheduled stop. Let's go to John Kernan.
The Goodrich crew awaiting Dale's arrival. What they're going to do is go under the hood. We had talked about the smoke coming out of the car. Richard Childers says he hopes it's nothing more than just a loose oil fitting. They will change 4 tires while they do have him in. RC going under the hood, pulling out the last piston. They will look under, and hopefully they will just find that it is, for their part, that is just a loose fitting or something. They, of course, had transmission problems here last year, burned up the transmission when a pump broke. Now they will look around to the right side of the engine compartment, checking everything out. Apparently they haven't found anything yet. Kirk Shelberdine going to work on the left side as he will pull some things off. Earnhardt sitting patiently in the car, but still no indication of what it might be, although I can see they are trying to tighten something up.
So Earnhardt remains on pit road. Now, early in the race, Tom Kendall was able to get around Dale Earnhardt right in front of you, Ned.
Coming into turn 7, he outbraked him coming in there, Bob. It looked like Kendall might have got in a little too fast, but the car stuck for him, and he was able to make the pass on the outside of Dale Earnhardt.
If you're just joining us here at Sears Point, Ned and Benny are out on course calling the action, and Jerry Punch and John Kernan on pit road. John?
What they say now, Bob, is the timing cover is leaking. They really cannot fix it. The only thing they can do is to go out on the racetrack and run and just hope the car will stay together. Now let's go down pit road to Jerry Punch.
Checking in the Ricky Rudd pits, John. We just learned that just a minute ago before the caution came out, Rudd had run Rusty Wallace down, was right on the rear deck and beginning to make a move down in turn 11. And they would like to see this race stay green. They figure the longer they run to the green, the better the Tide car gets. And they feel Rusty's car may tend to go away a little bit, but they may have a better shot if they can just keep some green flag laps under them. These caution laps hurt them. Bob?
All right, thank you, guys. Ricky Rudd, of course, second in the Winston Cup points. And he is noticing very carefully the problems that Dale Earnhardt is having here in the early going. Ricky was the winner this year at Darlington and has been very consistent in Winston Cup races this year. Now we'll kind of lock down our camera here and allow you to look for your favorite driver as he passes by. We are under caution.
Of course, there's Kendall running in the 3rd position. Darrell Waltrip Jeff Bodine, Ken Schrader, there's Dale Jarrett, and Blake Speed. Joe Ruttman having a good run. See your favorite driver go through. You saw Alan Kowicki go through there. Now he's back in sequence now as far as pit stops are concerned, so he's back up in there. They went Terry Camp. Marcus, Bobby Hillen. Sounded like Hillen's car was running on about 7 cylinders a little while ago. There went Rick Mask by and Bobby Hamilton. Stanley Smith making a trip out west here. And there's Dale Earnhardt bringing up the rear right behind Dave Marcus. Earnhardt, I'll tell you, he has a job cut out for him now to try to get back up towards the front.
36 cars lined up ahead of Dale Earnhardt here under caution as we are getting set for the restart of the Banquet Frozen Foods 300. Back in a moment.
The Suzuki GSX 1100G. Fly without excess baggage.
Escort owners talk about the new Ford Escort.
It's a whole new car. The only thing that didn't change is the Ford emblem.
Yeah, there is a night and day difference from the old Escort. That's the style grabbed me at first, and I got a whole lot of car for the money.
It's a good car for the money. I like it a lot. I look good in it.
The Escort's control is good, the handling's good, and the quality's great.
Have you driven a Ford lately?
I don't think I could have found a better value out there.
You know, for the smallest jobs to great American homes, the paint more people count on is Sears Weather Beater, guaranteed to last. No matter where you live, no matter what the weather. For the paint, for the craftsman tools, guaranteed to last. Count on Sears, the home of America's craftsmen.
And now, Weather Beater Flat Finish is on sale only $11.99. For the paint guaranteed to last. Get to Sears now.
Right through the toughest dirt around. Chase the grease and grime right out of town. When you have the toughest stain and it's giving you a pain, zip it off.
The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S cleans up on any surface.
Wow!
Track Facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
To even the most casual observer, the front grille sections appear quite different when comparing a Winston Cup Super Speedway and road course car. Now on the Super Speedway, where wind resistance is so critical, there are just 3 openings in the front grille. 2 for the radiator and 1 down in the left front for the oil cooler. Now contrast that with the 8 openings you'll see in the very front of a road course car. The same 2 for the radiator, but now the oil cooler opening has been moved to the right front. Remember, on the road course, they turn to the right quite a bit. This will catch a lot of air. But very importantly, the brake duct openings to keep those front brakes cool have been added. Left front and right front. And also the transmission takes a big beating gearing down so many times on a demanding road course. Transmission cooler is in the left front. A major difference between a road course and super speedway front end.
That's very true, Jerry. All the air going through the front end of these cars have a tendency to slow their car down. That's why on a super speedway they close all those opening up. But here at Sears Point Road Course, probably 130, 40 miles per hour is top speed. And the air going in to cool all the fluids is much more important than aerodynamics.
And guys, there are other changes that you got to make on these cars because they are turning right and left. Now, we've mentioned the fuel pickup problem that some of the cars have experienced here in the weekend. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Richard Childress.
Richard, Dale back in, a little more work under the hood. What is the problem?
Well, right now it's blowing oil out the breather, and we don't know why. You know, it's just one of them deals.
Any way you could, I understand you checked around the timing belt cover. Wasn't a bolt backed out there or anything? Now he's talking with Dale on the radio. It was nothing you could find. At first I heard you guys speculating it might have been the timing belt cover.
Be a green flag start this time. Yeah, we thought it was a timing cover at first, but now it looks like it was just blowing it out the breathers.
So all he can do is ride around then?
Yeah, we're going to try to run a little harder, but not as hard as we were.
Well, you can tell by the sound of his voice that RC very disappointed this afternoon. Second year in a row that they've had trouble here at Sears Point.
Earnhardt bringing up the rear of the field as the rest of the field gets set to go back to green flag conditions. Here they come off the final corner. Oh, and a spin right here at the straightaway. Ernie Irvan Lopes is going to be able to keep going. I think several drivers maybe anticipated the green a little before they should have. And they got all stacked up, and it resulted in Ernie Irvan spinning, but he's okay.
And Bob, as they were getting the green flag, Dale Earnhardt was just coming through turn 7, so he's a good half a lap behind the leader.
He just now enters turn number 11 as the rest of the field goes up through turn number 4.
Here's a replay, and once again, I think you're exactly right. Some people just anticipated. Ernie gets bumped in the back and makes a 360, puts the thing in gear and drives away. You know, some people are lucky and some people aren't. Looks like this is Ernie Irvan's day.
He came so close to hitting that inside wall, but didn't, and everything appears to be okay on the race car. Meanwhile, as they head for turn number 7, it's still Rusty leading Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, he makes a good approach into this turn. Tommy Kendall now beginning to move up, put a little bit of pressure on him, Bob.
There are a lot of people that sincerely believe that Tom Kendall could win this race here this afternoon. We have talked about how good he is on road courses and his performance that he has seen in Winston Cup competition on road courses. And with this car underneath him, he is a real contender for a win. He's on the brakes. Now he's off the brakes as they go down this straightaway toward turn number 11.
This is in second gear. They start accelerating off. As, the brake level when it comes into the turn, of course, when it went up, but then accelerating again.
It definitely looks like Kendall is getting his what we call sea legs or whatever. He's taking it easy for the first 15, 20 laps. Now his car is feeling good, and he is going to be a threat to win this thing, Bob. You're right.
Running third right now. Fourth is Michael Waltrip. Fifth, Darrell Waltrip.
And Bob, that's exactly what Felix Sabates wants. He wants a victory out of Tom Kendall. You know, the Winter Circle money award program that NASCAR has is worth about $250,000 a year. With Kyle Petty, his driver, being injured, they've only have one victory. It's going to take 2 victories to get in the Winter Circle. And that's exactly why Felix Sabates called Tom Kendall and said, we want you to drive at Sears Point and Watkins Glen because we need a victory.
Here they are back in turn 7. Rusty Wallace still leads them. Terry Labonte running in the 5th place. Darrell Waltrip is 6th. And here is Jeff Bodine trying to move around Darrell Waltrip, but couldn't quite make the pass.
So Labonte has gone around Waltrip and taken over that 5th spot. There's Bodine, Allison, Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, Joe Ruttman, Dale Jarrett, and Lake Speed as they come down. Mark Martin also able to pick up the position over Ken Schrader.
And I see that Davey Allison has finally been able to get by Schrader after he followed him for about 15 laps.
Look at this shot from Dale Jarrett's roof cam.
Boy, he runs down on Ruttman going into the turn. Ruttman a good road racer, too. He had a lot of good experience at Riverside years ago.
You're right, Ned. As a matter of fact, again, when you average the finishing positions of the top drivers in road course competition over the past 4 years, you find that Joe Ruttman is 5th on the list. So he is a good road racer. Elevation change here. They're pointed downward.
Boy, you can see that there are fans everywhere. Everywhere that camera points, there are fans on these hills. Beautiful layout here.
Now here is the carousel area. Turn number 6 going downhill sharply right here. They are really standing on their nose and then accelerating hard going on to part of the drag strip. This is also where the California Nationals NHRA races are held. The drag strip is what those cars are running on right now. The 19 car of Chad Little off course momentarily. He's okay though and running again.
You notice the Red Baron frozen pizza sponsor on Chad's car this week.
Oh!
Well, he just came in there a little hard. He's coming up in our direction, but he's not going to quite get here.
Let's hope not.
So Chad Little coming up on the outside.
He made contact there with Mike Chase, didn't he, Ned?
Yes, he did. They did make contact. Of course, Chase has been able to go on away, but Chad now trying to get his car going.
What's the deal here, Ned? Was he maybe having some brake problems?
Well, I don't know. He just, it looks like he locked the brake up coming in there, made just a little bit of contact. You can see the smoke coming from the wheels as they were locked up. And, of course, it sent him out in the dirt. Mike Chase stayed down on the inside, never did really spin around. Then Chad Little is off and running down.
Well, we're getting closer to the halfway point to enter the right guard halfway challenge sweepstakes. All you have to do, as we see some smoke coming from that number 19 car, call 1-900-737-1100 before the halfway lap, and that will be lap number 37. If you are called back during today's race, you can name the driver who has won the right guard halfway challenge, and you'll win a new Pontiac Grand Prix SE. The right guard halfway challenge is at lap number 37, and right now we are on lap number 28. So 9 more laps to go, and we'll reach the halfway point. As you can see at the moment, Rusty Wallace has a rather comfortable lead on Ricky Rudd and Tom Kendall. As the Banquet Frozen Foods 300 continues live on ESPN from Sears Point International.
Brett Bodine, one tough driver, talks about Quaker Steak, one tough motor oil.
At North Wilkesboro, that Carolina asphalt was hot enough to fry our King Racing Buick. Our engine was running hot, 240 degrees, and I had to keep pushing it over 8,000 RPM. Now that's when you start worrying about your oil's viscosity breaking down. But when the going got tough, the same Quaker Steak you can buy right off the shelf was tough enough to get me to the finish line first.
Quaker Steak is one tough motor oil.
It has armor. He has armor. It is cunning. He is more cunning. You've met the disease, roaches. Now meet the cure. The Orkin Man, armed with one of the most sophisticated pest control systems in the world. He zeroes in on roaches and other pests, destroys them, and prevents their return, guaranteed. The Orkin Man. One call destroys them all.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
After 29 of 74 laps in the Banquet Frozen Food 300K race at Sears Point International, it's Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Tom Kendall, Michael Waltrip, and Terry Labonte. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. By Ace. Ace is the place with a helpful hardware man. And by Midas. For mufflers, brakes, and shocks, nobody beats Midas. Nobody. Right now, nobody is beating Rusty Wallace as he leads the Banquet Frozen Foods 300 while we were away on break. Ernie Irvin had another problem.
And it was right here in turn 7, Bob. Looks like he and Herschel McGriff might have touched a little bit. And Ernie just going all around right in front of a bunch of traffic coming up on him. But everybody missed him, and he got her squared away, but he lost a lot of time.
There we saw Richard Petty go by Ernie Irvin. Well, he came around to turn 1 where I'm located, Ned. He came around turn 1 and didn't turn. I don't know what happened. He went straight through the dirt, over through turn 2, back on the course. But I don't know if he lost his brakes or just got the car out of shape. Getting in turn 1 was not able to go, not able to make the turn.
There's Mark Martin trying to move around Jeff Bodine coming into turn 7 up on the outside, and he does make the pass.
Jeff Bodine has moved up nicely, and now he and Mark Martin involved in quite a battle. There is Darrell Waltrip in number 17. He has lost a lot of positions in the last few laps. John Kernan can tell us why.
Bob, it could be a problem with this, a fuel pump. Darrell has radioed into Jeff Hammond and told him he's got about 3 pounds of pressure on his gauge. Now, Jeff says they like to have about 6. That's about half as much. They have told Darrell just to ride it out, take it easy. They will get a chance to work on it at the next round of pit stops. But they've got things like this fuel pump and a bunch of tools and other fittings sitting across behind me, ready just in case something does happen, and they have to bring Darrell in for a quick change.
Darrell Waltrip, the winner at North Wilkesboro, finds himself third in the Winston Cup points coming into this race, and you can see he continues to lose positions as Sterling Marlin, Alan Kowicki, and now Rick Wilson move around Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip 142 points behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt. And by the way, for those of you just joining us, Dale Earnhardt has had another problem here at Sears Point, similar to the one he had last year, as he has dropped way back in the field and is struggling with the number 3 car. And here is number 43, Richard Petty on pit road. Jerry? I'm sorry, Benny.
Bob, that's the result of him going through the dirt up here in turn 2. As I said, he went off turn 1 straight through the dirt, and at about 100 miles per hour across a bumpy dirt road is no place to be, especially with these cars as low as they are. You can see him up there trying to put the brake ducts and things back on there. Jerry Punch may be there to update us. Jerry?
Well, Benny, that's what they're doing. Actually, Richard, when he got off the course, a little off-road racing up there, they had the front end out of line, and so they're checking the toe in on the front of the car. They have the hood up on the STP Pontiac, and now they will jack the car up to make sure that the car's front end was towed in correctly. They will change those right side tires, but he's lost a lot of valuable time as the leader's now coming out of turn 11. Rusty Wallace leading Ricky Rudd by about 8 or 10 car lengths as they come by. Tommy Kendall about 7 car lengths behind Rudd as they head for turn 1. Bob?
Rudd running second in the tied Chevrolet. Not at the moment able to keep up with Rusty Wallace. These first 5 have sort of put some distance between themselves. Back here appears to be the best battle. That's Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, and Jeff Bodine. And here's some good racing also with Schrader, Rutman, and Jarrett.
They've moved up on Schrader in the last 2 or 3 laps. Rutman has. Jarrett following him through, but they haven't been able to do anything with him. Coming through turn 7, Schrader's car is not getting through it too good. Just watching as he goes through these other turns, looks like he's doing pretty well, though.
This is down in turn 6, the carousel over the hill, and you've got to be careful. These fellas are not on the gas as you go across the top of that hill, because if they do try to go across that hill too hard into the bank and the tires. Now here they're coming towards Ned Jarrett, turn 7.
Now you see Schrader slowing down a little bit more than the others coming into this turn. Rutman had a notion to try to move up on the outside. Now Jarrett's been coming in wide and coming off low off of that turn. It's been working pretty good for him because he's getting good traction coming off the turn. And Sterling Marlin is doing a little bit of off-road racing. Comes out behind Darrell Waltrip, Maxwell House Ford.
Sterling Marlin off course, but gets it back on. Loses a few positions.
Sterling, at least there's no smoke coming from this car.
I don't think he hit anything, man. He just got off the track and onto some dirt and spun around and got her back under control and took off.
And the car right behind Sterling Marlin is Mickey Gibbs, number 24. Gibbs moving to the inside and passing Sterling Marlin in turn number 11. The leader is Rusty Wallace. And there he is. In the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac, running in second position is Rusty Wallace, and third is Tom Kendall. We're just a few laps away from the halfway point of this 300-kilometer event in Sonoma, California.
Do you know what open-end mutual funds are?
The Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Markets tells you in clear, simple English.
Do you know how to spot trends in stocks?
and what stock options are,
and zero coupon bonds,
and the difference between Treasury bills and Treasury notes.
Everything you want to know about the sometimes baffling world of money and investing is in this remarkable 120-page book. And now it's yours free when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page guide to understanding money and markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, all for only $37, a 24% savings off the newsstand price. Call now, toll-free, 800-642-7400. That's 800-642-7400 for today's Wall Street Journal.
The Blue Jays are locked in battle for first place, led by the bat of Joe Carter. Cal Ripken Jr. is putting up Triple Crown numbers for the Orioles. The Blue Jays meet the Orioles live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Rusty Wallace leads the Banquet Frozen Foods 300 Winston Cup race on the road course at Sears Point International Raceway in Sonoma, California. Second position is Ricky Rudd, and there is the interval between first and second. And here comes third place, Tom Kendall in the yellow Pontiac.
And Bob, this fellow that's on the move now, I believe, has moved into fourth place, and that's Mark Martin. He has come from pretty far back in the pack and has moved into fourth place. Just a lap ago, he moved around Michael Walker.
Here comes Mark. Yes, indeed, Ned. He could have one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. He's all the way up to fourth, having passed Michael Waltrip just moments ago.
Yeah, I think he's gaining on Rusty Wallace.
There's a little bit of a wrinkle there in the front end, isn't there, Ned?
Yes, there is. He has bumped somewhat on his charge up towards the front, but it doesn't seem to affect the handling qualities of the Ford.
This is unbelievable. This is, as I said earlier, the Martinsville car, a half-mile car that they just simply took everything and moved over to the right side, the oil cooler, like Jerry Bunch was talking about it. The track fact is now on the right side. All the coolers are on the right side, but yet this is basically a short track car, and probably 90% of the rest of the cars in the field are built to be road racing cars.
Now, Benny, back when I was driving race cars and we were running road courses at Riverside and Watkins Glen and Allen Bridge Hampton, we used a short track car, but we didn't have the luxury of having a special car for the road racing, but the one that we chose was a short track car because the road courses do have so many short track characteristics.
That's exactly right, Ned. Back when I was used to run Riverside, that's what we did. We would take a short track car, just move everything over to the right. It's only in the past 5 or 6 years that all the fellas started using true road race cars. Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace having so much success with them that everyone else said, hey, we got to do the same thing.
And, you know, this car has been a pretty good one for him, you know, for Mark Martin. Not only is this is their short track car, this is the car they won with last year at Richmond. Also the car that made that final pit stop at Wilkesboro on our ESPN coverage and came back and beat Dale Earnhardt and won with at Wilkesboro. And this car sat on the pole this year at Martinsville. So a pretty good race car, even though it's not really geared to run right and left.
Mark Martin was the second place finisher last year, and at Watkins Glen last year, Mark Martin was fifth.
I'll tell you, he is really getting into turn 7 here, Bobby. Take that high line, similar to what Dale Jarrett has been taking, and then dips to the inside coming off, which gives him a tremendous amount of traction, which shoots him down towards turn 8 and on into 7, one of the high-speed parts of the racetrack.
Now that damage there on the front end of the car, we believe, was caused by when he hit Ernie Irvan on the restart a few laps ago. There's Kendall, third place, car 42. And here's the telemetry at work.
This is going down in turn 11, braking hard, as we've seen before, he's down to 29 miles per hour, getting a little bit slower as the tires as they wear and get hotter, now accelerating up through the gears. Now he's heading up towards me in turn 1. There I am, right in front of him. Bob, see me?
I saw you. Wave next time.
I will. Back on the brakes. This is turn 2. 46 miles per hour. Now he starts accelerating across to 3A and 3B.
That telemetry won an Emmy Award for ESPN Speed World last year during one of our support races at Watkins Glen, but has been brought to Winston Cup races for the first time and is being done through the cooperation of NASCAR. And we thank them for allowing us to show you the telemetry on this race car driven by Tom Kendall.
Bob, we should mention that Morgan Shepherd and Hut Strickland are back out on the track after having been in the garage for some repairs. So for their fans, they're back out here. Of course, they're far behind.
This time around will be the halfway mark. And at the moment, Rusty Wallace is the leader. John Kernan is there as Darrell Waltrip comes in.
Darrell had told Jeff Hammond just a moment ago that the car quit running. Well, it is running now. They've been having a fuel pressure problem, a problem with the fuel pickup. They thought it might be a fuel pump. They won't be able to work on that problem right now, but they're hoping that by filling up the gas tank that it will alleviate the problem, because on a full tank, the pickup was fine. So we're only a few laps away from scheduled pit stops. Darrell comes in and takes on 4 tires and 2 cans of gasoline, and it's away.
$10,000 about to be won by Rusty Wallace as he brings the car off of turn number 11. Here is Rusty headed for the start-finish line. And cross flags are being shown. There is the halfway challenge. The winner is Rusty Wallace. He is leading at the halfway point. He wins the $10,000 from the Gillette right guard people. And if you have entered the contest and are called back, you could win the Pontiac Grand Prix SE if you tell them that Rusty Wallace was the winner of the right guard halfway challenge here at Sonoma this afternoon. Well, action on the course while Rusty was crossing the line.
A little close racing there. Rick Mast in car number 1. And Bill Elliott in car number 9 gets a little bit of an assist from Ernie Urban, and around Bill goes. Bill not having a good day here today, and he's a good road racer too. He's just not doing well today.
24th is where he was shown before that little incident. Well, Jerry Punch can update us on the pit strategy as we are nearing the point when pit stops will be made.
Well, a lot of concern here up and down pit road about fuel consumption here. Normally these cars can run about 80 or 90 miles on an oval, but here they're only getting about 2.5 miles per gallon, and they have a 22-gallon tank, but they can't pick up all the 22 gallons. A lot of guys are already complaining about fuel pickup problems, so we should be seeing some pit stops as early as the next 2 to 3 laps. A lot of people are saying they can only run about 22 to 25 laps. In fact, Tommy Kendall's crew is now waiting for Kendall to make an appearance on pit road. Bob?
Yes, indeed. We see him headed toward the pit area as Wallace and Rudd remain on the course, but the third place car of Tom Kendall comes in for a scheduled pit stop. Here he is through our in-car camera, making his way slowly down pit road.
Tommy Kendall's mellow yellow Pontiac has only completed 21 laps at the previous pit stop, so Kendall's crew now will change all 4 tires. Gary Nelson and rest of the Felix Savada's own team have changed right side tires, pull the left side tires off. Very important to get the car completely full of fuel. They will need at least 1 more stop to make it all the way here, as they have trouble now with the left rear tire to get down and away.
His pit down toward turn 1. A car off is a 0-0 of Scott Gaylord.
And Bob, if the full course caution comes out, this is something Darrell Waltrip did not want, because he went a lap down to the leaders when he made his pit stop. We see Rusty Wallace, the leader, coming through turn 7 here right now, but Waltrip does not want to see a caution right now until the others have to stop. Okay, car 0-0 gets going, so maybe there won't be one.
But Ned, Jarrett, Tom Kendall does want, as we watch the Scott Gaylord car spin out, what a break for Tom Kendall with a full course yellow, if that is in fact what we get, because he has already made his pit stop. Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd would come in, and he would be the leader of the race if we have a full course yellow.
Yeah, it certainly worked to his advantage.
Don't think we're going to have one, because Scott Gaylord got the car running again. He's okay. And another spin. Michael Waltrip, as Kendall came into the pits, Michael Waltrip did a spin in turn number 11. There goes Davey Allison by. And Terry Labonte also. So Rusty Wallace continues to lead. We have passed the halfway point of this 300-kilometer event. And we'll be right back in just a moment.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sport Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
The technology developed on the track for the awesome 650 horsepower Lumina NASCAR Champion goes into cars like this. The new 200 horsepower twin dual cam V6 Lumina Z34. Sorry, decals not included. Z34. Powerful proof more people are winning with the heartbeat of America.
$2.29 for a pot pie? There must be some mistake. And duck à l'orange. For my kids? There must be some mistake. I said, where's the manager? He says he is. There must be some mistake.
Today's banquet is for families like yours. Good food at the right price. And varieties the whole family will enjoy.
I'm sticking with Banquet. And that's no mistake.
Today's banquet. Good food that's right on the money.
Brett Bodine, one tough driver, talks about Quaker Steak, one tough motor oil.
At North Wilkesboro, that Carolina asphalt was hot enough to fry our King Racing Buick. Our engine was running hot, 240 degrees, and I had to keep pushing it over 8,000 RPM. Now that's when you start worrying about your oil's viscosity breaking down. But when the going got tough, the same Quaker Steak you can buy right off the shelf was tough enough to get me to the finish line first.
Quaker Steak is one tough motor oil.
Speed World, bringing you auto racing coverage around the world. Over 200 motorsports events on ESPN. And today in the wine country, Sonoma, California, and Sears Point International Raceway, there is your leader, Rusty Wallace. Second place is Ricky Rudd, and anticipating pit stops here before very long. Tom Kendall, who was running third but has fallen back to 19th, has made his second scheduled pit stop of the afternoon.
Bob, we thought for a moment that Mark Martin might be gaining on Rusty Wallace, but that's not the case in the last 4 or 5 laps. Wallace hasn't opened up much more of a lead over Ricky Rudd, as you can see Rudd in the picture there, but Mark Martin has fallen back about a second further behind than he was.
Now right there is the entrance to the pits. There are those yellow, and here, I thought Rudd was going to make the entrance onto pit road, but he did not, so our 2 front runners stay out there, and so does third place Mark Martin in the Folgers Ford car number 6.
That's what I would call a wide entry to turn 11, wouldn't you, Bob?
Yeah, I would say so. Now the leader is going to be moving up on some slower traffic. Sterling Marlin ahead, and also Ted Musgrave in car number 55. Both of those cars move over and let Rusty pass without any problem at all.
This is going downhill, right-hander.
Here's Tom Kendall going through corner number 11. As we indicated, he's fallen back to 16th position. Jerry, what was the strategy for bringing him in so early?
Well, Bob, Gary Nelson brought Tommy Kendall in about 5 laps early, knowing that everyone has to make at least one more stop. Now, he realizes that Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace should be pitting any time now. But if they calculate their pit stops according to how much fuel they'll have to make their final stop with about 5 laps to go. Now, barring caution flags, of course, they'll have to come back in. We're talking about Wallace, Rudd, etc., with 5 laps to go. They will make their stop, meaning Gary Nelson and Tommy Kendall, with about 10 laps to go, meaning they'll be back up front. It'll be up to Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd to catch them for the win.
Well, several cars have made pit stops. As we watch Tommy Kendall, he is one of those who has made a pit stop. Michael Waltrip has made a pit stop, so has Lake Speed. Others will be coming in here very shortly.
We saw Darrell Waltrip in the pits a couple of times. He's riding around the racetrack right now. Looks like he might have just 4th gear in his car. He's not at the speed at all.
Kendall has just passed Herschel McGriff in car 04. Here is the leader once again, Rusty Wallace, and he will take at least one more lap before coming in. Now headed for turn number 1 again.
Here he comes. There he goes.
Boy, the right front of that car almost drags on the pavement as he goes around some of those corners.
That's the one thing I've been noticing when they come through turn one. When they make that left-hander, the right front literally drags the racetrack. That's how soft the springs are.
Our Western Auto Race recap. Rusty Wallace has led 27 of the 40 laps. We've had 3 full-course caution periods for a total of 8 laps. 32 cars remain on the lead lap, and the average speed, not bad, 73.09 miles an hour. Those who have led a lap, Rusty Wallace, current leader. Ricky Rudd. There you can see that R.K. Smith was the only car that is officially out of the race, although several are behind pit wall. And R.K. had an encounter with one of the dirt banks here and then came in with engine failure. Now, let's take a look at the Mechanic of the Year standings from Western Auto. Andy Petrie on Harry Gant's car is on top with Kirk Shelmerdine of Dale Earnhardt second. Then Bob Johnson on the 1-car third. Tony Glover from Ernie Irvin's crew is fourth. And Larry McReynolds, now working for Davey Allison, is fifth in the Mechanic of the Year standings from Western Auto. Well, he passed up the pit entrance again, guys, so he's going to stay out there for at least another lap. We're talking about the leader, Rusty Wallace.
Well, it looks like he might be trying to stay out there long enough, Bob, that he can maybe go the rest of the way after this. Here comes Mark Martin in, though.
Mark Martin, the third place runner, relinquishes his position. Jerry Punch will call this pit stop.
Well, Mark Martin should be coming in for his scheduled stop. And remember, they can only run 25 miles an hour on pit road. It almost looks like slow motion. Now, the hood of that Folgers Ford did it in when the hell those cars jammed together on the restart. And, of course, Ernie Irvin spun, resulting from that. But now the short track car, the backup car they had not intended to run, comes in for the Folgers crew to take a look at. Right rear tire going on. And now Steve Mill puts the lug nuts back in place. They have taken the lugs off the left side. They put the first can of fuel in. They absolutely would love to get a win here because this course has not been very kind to the Jack Roush team. Good pit stop for them. 4 tires, full tank of fuel, and they're away.
Mark Martin, second in Winston Cup points last year, goes back into competition. There you can see his 1990 road course finishes. Pretty impressive. And Darrell Waltrip is in the pits with the hood up on the Western Auto Chevy. Looks like they're changing the carburetor on that car. John Kernan, is that what they're doing?
That's exactly right, Bob. They brought him in. He's been having that fuel pressure problem. First, they thought it might have been a bad fuel pump. They thought the hose in the pickup might have dropped off. He just wasn't picking up the gasoline. Darrell called Jeff just a few moments ago and said, I got to bring it down. Just can't run like this. So they decided to change the carburetor. Maybe a float has hung up inside the carburetor.
Third in Winston Cup points going into this race. Darrell Waltrip on pit road with the hood up.
You know, it'd be interesting if that is the problem with carburetor, because I was talking to Billy Stavola, the owner of Rick Wilson Snickers Buick, yesterday, and he told me at Dover their car was running well, but he got some trash in his carburetor, had to change a carburetor during the race. And you only see carburetors change a couple of times a year.
And Jeff Bodine enters pit road. John Kernan, he's coming your direction.
Jeff, who's tried to stay out there so he can make it with his last fuel stop, but I don't believe they're going to be able to quite make that with 30-so laps left in the race. It will be scheduled for tire service. You can see a little bit of damage on the left front where he and Michael Waltrip got together down here just a few laps ago. Right sides are on, left sides coming off to go on, getting every drop of fuel into the car that they can, and he's now full. They will pull away some of that sheet metal damage I talked about momentarily to get it away from that left front tire. Jeff sitting still on the jack, feet right, twist the knob, the handle, and he is down and away.
Now remember, this is the Flossie Johnson car, 97, while Junior sits out the last 2 races of his suspension. The 25 car of Ken Schrader has made a pit stop. Service completed on the Kodiak Chevrolet. And Ken Schrader, who won at Dover last weekend, is back in action. Here's Rusty Wallace coming up on Bobby Hillen, driving the number 52 car. This is the car that's normally driven by Jimmy Means, but he has given it up for the last couple of races to Bobby. Here they come toward the pit entrance. Let's see. I don't think so, because he's going inside. Nope.
I tell you what, Bob, they certainly have got that fuel pickup problem solved. Here comes Ricky Rudd in the pits. Our second place car is in the pits.
So Rudd brings the Tide Chevrolet in. He gives up second place, 25 miles an hour. Jerry Punch, it is a slow movement down pit road.
Has to seem like an eternity for the driver to sit there and just putter along at 25 miles an hour. Be careful not to stall the car as the crew now goes to work on the right side of the Tide Chevrolet. Would expect to see the typical 4-tire change and fueling of the car. Now, a lot of calculations being done right now as to whether some of these guys may be able to make it all the way on this final pit stop. At least they're working that way. Wallace pit now working the left side tires on the Tide Chevrolet. I might mention also that Mark Martin's pit stop 2 laps ago was a little bit earlier than scheduled because he had a flat right front tire. And here's number 5 exiting pit road.
And it's so good to see those pit crew members wearing full face helmets and protected as much as they can from anything that could go wrong on pit road.
Well, we understand that Jeff Bodine and the Budweiser team think that they can go the rest of the way. They just pitted a lap ago. So those that are still out there, like Rusty Wallace, they should have no problems in once they make their pit stops.
Jeff Bodine fell to 15th when he came in for that stop, but if he can go the rest of the way, he could be a contender. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace's pit crew gets set for him to come in. Here he is in turn number 9. Going through turn number 10 right here. Headed down the straightaway. And let's see if he does flank off. I believe he's going to come in. Yes. Rusty Wallace comes in. Jerry Punch. All this pit stop by Rusty Wallace, who gives up the lead.
Well, by their calculations, this may be his final stop on pit road, barring the caution flag, so possibly that strategy from Gary Nelson may not work. Rusty Wallace getting ready to bring the Miller Genuine Draft car to a halt as he comes down pit road. Harold Elliott, Jimmy Maycar, Nick Alila, and all the Penske Racing crew here for the Miller team will go to work on the right side of the car. Rusty sitting very calmly in the car, reaches over, gets a nice cold drink. They clean the windshield, and the crew really hustling. Maycar has slapped the right front tire back on. They hustle around down to the left side, making sure they get every single drop of Union 76 fuel in this car. Left front tire, left rear tire going on. Like a high-speed ballet, this crew now drops the jack, and Rusty Wallace will pull away back to turn 1.
22.7 second pit stop for Rusty Wallace.
And Bob, as that was going on, Joe Rutland apparently ran out of gas as he came off of turn 7 up here. Should be coasting back down towards turn 11 there now.
And
okay.
he's made the pit road.
Okay, I was wondering if he'd be able to do it, but it was downhill from where he ran out of gas, so he ran out of a good place.
And coming in just ahead of him is the 25th Sterling Martin, and Harry Gant is on pit road, John.
Harry comes in, takes on the fuel. He should have no problems making it the rest of the way, but his throttle was hanging. They had to briefly take the hood up and unstick the throttle. He had shut the motor off when he came in. The throttle was stuck wide open. But they will go to work now on the right side and take care of the business at hand, although that has cost them a lot of time in the pits. The car has been fueled. It has been filled. They will do a 4-tire change. But as I said, Harry will have no problems going the rest of the way. According to their last check, he's gone about 30 laps between pit stops.
Fred Bodine pulls out in the Quaker State Buick, and now Harry Gant's Gold Bandit Oldsmobile is down off the jacks, and he returns to the action. The leader is Dale Jarrett in car number 21 as we ride with him with the roof cams here at Sears Point International Raceway in Sonoma, California. We'll be right back.
Ever wonder what Daryl does when he's not racing?
I'm at Western Auto kind of checking things out, and you should too. Hey guys.
Hi, Daryl.
Because now you can enter our exciting We Win, You Win $1 million racing sweepstakes. There's monthly drawings for Chevy Luminas, race trips, plus if I win the championship, one of you will win $1 million.
While you're at Western Auto, pick up a Delco Freedom 60 battery for just $44.99. Delco Freedom 60 battery. It's like buying time.
You do look good in cardboard.
No better way to face the day.
The morning belongs to Skin Bracer Aftershave. Its cool, brisk tingle really gets you going. And what a great scent. Skin Bracer.
No better way to face the day. By Bennett.
What do I know about kitchen stuff?
Small appliances.
Plug.
Outlet.
Want to know any more? Ask Dave.
This Windmere 12-inch 3-speed oscillating fan only $13.99, and the Host King hose wheel is just $19.99.
Hey, Ace is the place for me.
Let me tell you.
George 117 in pursuit of request additional backup. Do you copy? 117. San 216, we copy. Approaching 6900 block. Let's get a roadblock.
More police cars throughout America come on Goodyear Eagle radials than any other brand of tires. Why? Because they want it that way.
Attention all units.
Goodyear Eagles. The authorities know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
For 35 years, Midas has been providing quiet, installing quality products for clean, safe, and quiet driving.
Well, it's time we made some noise. Midas announces Quiet Riot Day.
We're celebrating our anniversary with great values on quality muffler, brake, and suspension services. Guaranteed. So get to the riot, and we'll provide the quiet. The Midas Quiet Riot. For great values, nobody beats Midas. Nobody!
Back at Sears Point, and Dale Jarrett was the leader, but just one problem after another on pit road for Dale, and the car still isn't rolling under its own power. We've seen several crew members come out and try to help push the car and spray ether into the machine to try to get it running. There you can see Dale just doing everything he can, but finally the car stops right down here at pit exit. And now it appears as if they may push the car the other way on pit road. A tough break for Dale Jarrett, who was running good in the Citgo Ford and was in the lead, but then all kinds of problems on pit road.
No doubt the car did run out of fuel, and just simply the car engine being hot, the starter, everything, not able to get this engine to spin over well enough to restart.
Meanwhile, on the racetrack, the lead has gone back to Rusty Wallace. After our pit stops have been completed, Rusty Wallace is the leader of the race. Running in second is Ricky Rudd. Third is Tom Kendall. Fourth is Mark Martin. And fifth is Davey Allison. Sixth place belongs to the 97 car of Jeff Bodine. Then Ken Schrader, Michael Waltrip, Terry Labonte, and Alan Kowicki as we ride inside Tom Kendall's mellow yellow Pontiac.
Bob, he seems to be having a little bit of a problem. The car is sputtering when he comes off of turn 7 here. He's still running good out on the road course, but he's not getting the acceleration off of turn 7 that he would like to have.
Well, that's Ricky Rudd right there ahead of him in second position, and here comes Mark Martineau right behind him. So the first 4 cars are running pretty close together on the racetrack.
That sounds like a fuel pickup problem. We were talking about Rusty Wallace earlier having a fuel pickup problem. That's what that sounds like. We had talking about the problem Tom Kendall's having off that corner up in turn 7. I wave, Bob. You see me?
No, you're gonna have to do it harder. I can't see you. How's the weather out there? It was a beautiful morning when we started here today.
It is utterly fantastic. Must be 75, 80 degrees. The breeze about 5-6 miles per hour. Just perfect.
Mark Martin is in 4th spot.
Looks like he's trying to close in a little bit on Tommy Kendall.
Passing the 99 of John Krebs, one of the Winston West competitors, and that Skoll-sponsored car. Now they're headed down through turn number 6 again and on to the drag strip.
Rusty Wallace now beginning to pull away from the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars.
Looks like Mark's closing in on Kendall.
Yes, he is. Coming into turn 7, he runs it in there hard on him. As the car number 91 moves up out of their way. Both of them go underneath him, but that time, Kendall's car accelerated okay off of that turn, at least as well as Mark Martin's.
Coming up through the yellow, or the S's, I should say. Boy, we have had good luck in terms of caution flags here today. Look at this. Only one car is officially out of the race. That was R.K. Smith very early on. Behind the wall is Ted Musgrave at number 55. Boy, yesterday, whew, when we run 1 or 2 laps and we go back to caution, something like 29 of the 50 laps yesterday in the Southwest Tour event here at Sears Point were under caution. But it's been exactly opposite that today, as everybody has been able to stay out there in competition.
There goes the Kendall and the Martin car right by me.
I saw you that time, Benny.
Did you? Good. And you're right. Martin is right on the back bumper of Kendall. He's going to have to find him a better spot than this to pass, though. Downhill, hard right-hander downhill. Off camera just a little bit.
Mark Martin continues his pursuit of Tom Kendall. See how things shake out as they come off of corner number 6 and head down the straightaway. And as they head toward you, Ned, we've seen a lot of passing here in the...
Yeah, this is the place they've done it. Let's see, Mark Martin coming in here this time, but he couldn't get up close enough to get up on the outside, so he's going to follow Tom Kendall right through, right on his back bumper. Hopes he slips a little bit coming off the turn, but Tom Kendall didn't. So Mark Martin's going to have to stay right there in 4th place for a moment.
So it remains Kendall in 3rd and Mark Martin in 4th spot. We'll take another break. Be back with more live coverage in just a moment from Sears Point International.
Up here, the days run long. Sometimes the job is all uphill, but you keep on going. And once you've made it all the way to the top, the mountains will take your breath away and remind you there's no place you'd rather be than right here, right now.
Where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? So where can you go on Goodyear Wrangler radials? Just about anywhere you want. Put on a set of Goodyear Wrangler radials, and you'll know why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Hey, I like to save money as much as the next guy. But what are the odds that there's going to be a sale on the parts you need when your car breaks down? Hey, it's not going to happen. That's why I go to AutoZone. I mean, sure, you could wait around for a couple weeks and maybe beat their price by a few pennies someplace else. But I don't want to wait for a sale when I need a part. Now, what more could you ask for?
Rusty Wallace blasts through the turn 10 area, remaining in the lead here in the Banquet Frozen Foods 300-kilometer Winston Cup race. He's got a nice lead on Ricky Rudd. Here comes Rudd in 2nd spot. Now, a while ago, Kendall was 3rd and Martin was 4th. It's the other way around right now, as Mark Martin has been able to pass Tom Kendall and take over 3rd position. As we watch now from Kendall's in-car camera, and here's the replay of how the pass occurred.
Just going down in turn 11, Bob. Mark Martin gets under, gets position, out-breaks him in the corner, and there's really truly nothing in the world Kendall can do except go down and get spun out.
Well, he put the right side tires on the rumble strips. Look at this, 3 abreast.
Yeah, that was coming into turn from 3A, and they had 3 cars, including the 7 car and 22, had come 3 abreast into turn 7 here not long ago. I thought that's where he was, but they got together somewhere else too.
Well, I'm telling you, there is hardly room for 2 cars, let alone 3 out there. Everything is going Rusty Wallace's way at the moment, with a nice interval on Ricky Rudd in 2nd spot. John Kernan has a story on the brakes being used on the Rudd car.
Well, Bob, what we have here is a new caliper developed by the guys down at Wildwood, down in Camarillo, California. It's between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. And what makes this special with this caliper is that they use stainless steel pistons, also stainless steel construction through here, and ceramic cloth between the heat shield and the caliper. Now, what this does is it allows the caliper to run about 100 degrees cooler. They first used this caliper in Darlington. Ricky Rudd debuted it there, and at Martinsville, it was about 100 degrees, 500 degrees at that track, 100 degrees cooler. And what you do there is you do not boil the brake foot. In places like a short track like Martinsville, and also here on the road course, you're standing on the brakes quite a lot. So you do have a problem with the brakes. And this is just a little thing that some of these guys are using, a little bit of technology to get an edge right here on the racetrack. And speaking of technology, Jerry Punch has something else down on the road.
We're up here with Gary Nelson on top of the rig here. That Felix Sabates has a nice little fishing chair here for Gary to sit in on the SS Mellow Yellow here on top of the pits, and we'll climb up here and sort of try to hover with Gary. Now, Gary, there's been some concern that maybe your car was sputtering a little bit. You lost the spot a minute ago to Mark Martin.
Well, the car sputters after about 20 laps, where the other teams can go about 30. So we just split up. There's a fuel pickup problem that we're having in the left-hand turn. So we just split up from the last caution period 20 laps, and then it's 20 laps to the finish. Rusty looks like he can make it all the way, and maybe the 6 car or the 5. We can't make it all the way. Caution would sure help. But as far as everything else goes, Tommy's doing a great job, and we're really happy that he's running up front as far as he is.
Well, there's some concern here in the Gary Nelson, Tommy Kendall pitch. They would love to see another yellow flag and all come back in and top them off. Bob?
All right, Tom Kendall has fallen back to 4th position. There's the leader, Rusty Wallace.
He has about a 6.5-second lead over Ricky Rudd right now, Bob. He's running very comfortably out there.
Down through turn number 11 once again. This will complete lap number 54. Look at this. Lake Speed and Ernie Irvin have found each other again, Benny.
They sure have. And where did Ernie go? All of a sudden he's not there. Oh, there he is. He's trying that outside move up towards you, Ned.
Yes, coming in there in turn 7. Let's see if he can do it. Coming in there. Yeah, he does. He had him pretty well cleared before he got to the turn. So Ernie makes the pass. Motor's right on the lawn.
And that moves Ernie Irvin to 11th position and Lake Speed back to 12th.
Ernie sure had his problems today. Spun on the restart earlier when he got tagged from behind by Mark Martin. Made some contact with Bill Elliott up in turn 7.